Mission deep is pressing. God, will you help us out? This black life is hectic. Why will you tell them how your light is a lesson? I'm not gonna stress if I can't contest with Allah who will bless them.
But it's important that y'all know that I worked at In-N-Out. I worked at Taco Bell. Where else I worked? I worked at Best Buy, but food spots. Speaking of food, I worked at In-N-Out, Taco Bell, right? And then that was when I was younger. And then like 2 years ago, I worked at an actual meat factory, right? So I've seen meat from where they produce it, and then I see meat where, you know, it looks pretty, right? And I'm gonna let y'all know when it's being produced, it looks nothing like In-N-Out. So the vegan wraps is geared towards you guys understanding this term right here. This vegan wraps is for this term right here. This is the basis of today. If you lead with anything, it's called homeo. I know y'all know the ending. And right, it got small. So look, with homeostasis, this is referring to your body's ability to balance itself out and stay healthy, right? Now you say we're trying to stay healthy, but every day we're getting older and closer to death. True, but the body is replenishing itself. How does the body replenish itself? Anybody? Anybody? Food. Food is a source of energy for us, right? So when we get vitamins and minerals in our diets, our bodies actually have a better chance of fighting off a term called senescence, which means growing older gradually, you know, healthily. It's called senescence. So the vegan wraps is geared towards getting people, not necessarily just colored people, but primarily black people, colored people, Africans, Moors, Islamic, Christian, whatever you call yourself, getting people of color who came from a certain spot in our world where we ate a lot of plant-based foods, right? So these lectures are supposed to open up people's minds to what we eat as compared to what we should be eating, right? So for instance, people will say, well, you know, eating meat is natural. You know, one of the scientific arguments, the best one I've heard so far, which is sad, but the best scientific argument that y'all are going to be able to find is that we produce hydrochloric acid in our gastrointestinal tract, right? So we produce an acid that actually helps us break down meat. So that's the evidence why we should eat meat. My father was on heroin, crack cocaine, etc., right? When he was on these drugs, his hormones produced a certain reaction. They produce certain alkaloids to try to assemble and deal with the crack cocaine. So because my father's body can produce something that fights off something foreign, does that mean that it was supposed to be there in the first place? So when I say crack, everybody get it. When I say fried chicken, y'all like, where Popeye's at? Right? So I'm trying to get you guys to understand foreign DNA. So what is foreign DNA, right? Foreign DNA is DNA from animals. That's an example of foreign DNA. I don't need to write that down. Foreign DNA is DNA from animals. So when we put max amounts of animals in our body cannot deal with this because it's foreign, right? And there's a whole lecture on that alone, right? So what do I have for the people to help them deal with being on a diet that nutritionally is putting things in you that don't add up with your basic DNA structure, right? I say for everybody struggling on their diet or with their body, if you're struggling, eat raw before 12, right? I should put eat up here, but it's eat raw before 12. What does this mean? Raw foods. We got kale right here. I forget it starts with an L, the type of kale this is. Then I got the average curly kale that y'all probably see everywhere. These are examples of raw foods, meaning something that hasn't been cooked with heat and you haven't denatured the food, right? So now I don't expect y'all to wake up in the morning and just grab this and just eat it. You know, that's a little raw, that's a little different. So that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is incorporating different raw foods in your diet will actually replace what meat, or I'll say the Western diet normally gives us, right? So you look at a Western diet, and we normally eat eggs in the morning, or they told us, you know, eggs is a breakfast food. They also included milk. Milk is a breakfast food. No L. I mean, no, yeah. And then what else do y'all eat for breakfast? People who y'all can keep it real. I'm not judging. Bacon. Waffles. Waffles. Pancakes.
Cereal.
Bacon.
Biscuit.
Bacon is a big one. A biscuit is a great one. Y'all gonna get me going here. A biscuit.
Butter.
Waffles. Butter. Margarine.
Pancakes.
Butter. Pancakes. I'll put that with waffles. Cheese. Butter. Oh wait, what was that? Cheese? Dang, so we're gonna put a side slab by milk and put cheese. We're gonna stop there. We're gonna stop there. Y'all heard my heart already. I can feel the arteriosclerosis off of everything y'all just mentioned. Now we know what arteriosclerosis is, right?
No.
I'm going over your head. I'm gonna calm it down. Look. So arteriosclerosis is basically we have arteries in our body. Arteries are responsible for moving blood throughout the body so that your organs can get gas, nutrients. When I say gas, it's like oxygen, right? So we have arteries that have a responsibility. They have to push blood through the body. And then if arteries take things through the body, what brings things back to the body? We got arteries and veins. So we got veins, right? Arteriosclerosis is when your body cannot deal with the amount of saturated fats that you get from milk, cheese, eggs. Now butter, definitely. Butter. The waffles, it depends on what you get in your waffles. Eggo waffles, they make waffles, correct? In their waffles, they add a substance called yellow 5. Now, when I was like in 7th grade, I heard of yellow 5. And all the guys heard of it. Why? Because they was telling us that yellow 5 do what?
Decrease your sperm count. Yeah, sperm.
So it decreases your sperm count. More accurately, it decreases your testosterone levels, which lower the ability to produce sperm in our testicles, right? So yellow 5 is actually a chemical that a lot of people would say is a toxin. And in Europe, they have it banned. No products use yellow 5 is not used in Europe. And if you do use it, you will be sued, right? So in Europe, they say we can't use this product. In America, we got commercials with the Eggo waffles, and then you look on the back of the box, yellow 5 is present, right? They have linked yellow 5, and this is a whole nother lecture in itself as well. They have linked yellow 5 to ADHD, depression, bone density, or loss of bone density, and y'all can do the rest of the research yourself. Just type in yellow 5. You're not gonna like what you come up with from anyone, right? But this is what's in the Eggo waffles. This is what gives waffles their that vibrant color that they yellow 5 filled waffles, Eggo 5. I've ate plenty of these waffles before. Bacon. This is another contributor to arteriosclerosis. Now, why am I talking about arteriosclerosis? I'm gonna stop using that word. Why am I talking about us having clogged up vessels that's supposed to push blood through? Because black people, and then I know we're followed by Mexicans, and then it will trickle down the line from there. Lead the country in heart disease, right? And one of the main things that diseases our heart is our heart not getting enough nutrients. So when we eat these things, this is the science. You wake up in the morning, your stomach is empty. The first thing you give it is something that nutritionally, if you did the research, not me, forget my lecture, nutritionally, if y'all did the research, is on the low end of the totem pole, right? So they said, hey, well, meat was always for rich people, and the rich people was always fat and sick, and the poor people normally lived a little bit longer, but they didn't have as much weight on them. And they said, okay, well, if meat was a rich person's thing, then why have we become the rich people? Or have we become the rich people mentality? We want to be like them. We want to have the money. We want to do what they do. So have we start as a people picking up habits that naturally don't have nothing to do with us? Now, what do I mean when I say these don't have nothing to do with us? Black people went through something called slavery, right? During slavery, we had to eat. Nobody was a breatharian or aeritarian or fruitarian where they could live off very minimal. We had to eat. We went through a lot. We was in the fields working, being tortured, being split up from our parents, our loved ones. So that emotionally took a lot out of us. We had to eat. What were we given to eat? Most of y'all know the slaves were fed, right? And so when we hear the food today and we go, when I go to somebody's house on Thanksgiving and I see fried chicken, maybe I'm a little different than everybody else, but I read, right? So let me grab my book so y'all can see where I get some of my knowledge from. But I read all the time. I'm always reading. And so when I see fried chicken, and then I just read a passage about the slaves eating fried chicken, and then my homies call, we go somewhere and it's fried chicken, my mind, I naturally just think of slavery. I think, dang, we in the same position nutritionally we were in when we were forced to eat certain things, right? And then they say, well, hey, you know, can we survive ourselves off grains and things that don't sustain meat? And it's like, yes, but by us being taken out of our habitat, we don't have the same natural foods that we had access to. So I don't blame the slaves for doing what they had to do. Just like when you trace the history of eating meat, what cultures, does anybody know the culture that had the heaviest rate of eating meat? Or not culture, I'm sorry, I'm going to say the race. Europeans. When you do the research, no race has ate more meat and killed more animals than Europeans. Why would they have to kill animals? Well, they're in Europe, right? So they're in a spot, they're in a place in the world where it's not a whole lot of sunlight, right? They're not on the equator or the belt where the sun hits. So they are forced to eat animals. Now me as a pro-black person, that doesn't make me feel good to see another race forced to do something that all studies are showing are nutritionally hurting us. So I don't blame Europeans for eating meat, because they had to do this, right? But I would blame a conscious black person for eating meat. And why would I do that? Not because I'm a vegan, because when you do the research and you get back to what your ancestors were doing, which is creating and researching and innovating and building and respecting their wives and their families and trying to build their community up, when you get back to the research, you see that a plant-based diet is what we were on, right? Animal usage was rare, and it was for occasions where the community was in strife, where there wasn't a whole lot of options, where there were basically no options. There are also tribes that incorporated animals in the diet because they wanted to. They felt that that would help the animal's spirit transition in a form of like reincarnation. All right, it's not true reincarnation, but forms of it, where the energy's not dying. This animal lived a long life, so we're going to eat this animal and partake and put this animal back into our system. It was a spiritual, culturalistic thing when Africans ate meat, right? When Europeans ate meat, it was a whole nother level of survival. So throughout slavery, we naturally pick, some people are religious, some are not. But for those who believe in when God said, thou shalt not kill, and for those who believe in not being blasphemous and putting your own spin on God's words, if you're going to just take the words for what God said, if God said don't kill, and you're not going to commit blasphemy and try to explain what he meant by that and create a metaphor and a parable off of do not kill, if you're not going to be blasphemous, then we have to take thou shalt not kill as I'm not supposed to kill. So what does this mean? If I see an animal, a horse or a rabbit, and I run up on it and snap his neck and then let it rot and then cook it, that just sounds crazy. Wait a minute, y'all feel me? So none of us are in here killing animals, but we're eating the animal. If y'all had to go kill the animal yourself, if you had to be out there in the forest, in the wilderness finding these animals, I'm pretty sure everybody in this room will be a vegan. A hardcore vegan. If you had to go kill a cow with your bare hands, or create a knife and then go kill a cow, I'm pretty sure it would change the mentality of how you eat meat, right? So we want to look at that and take that into consideration when we're eating these foods that in our bodies are not nutritionally for us. Now, what do I mean? We have something in our body called a pH scale. This is an offset of homeostasis. To be at homeostasis, or to be homeostatic, I think the word is, you have to have the correct pH going on. That's one thing. It's a lot of things in homeostasis, right? So that's why we're doing ongoing lectures. The pH stands for potential hydrogen, right? So it's the amount of hydrogen, which is an essential element that we need in our diet, and what that food is bringing. So pH is measured on a scale from 0 to 3 to, we're going to say 7 to 9, and we're just going all the way to 14. It goes from 0 to 14, right? This is the pH scale, from 0 to 14. Where do y'all think humans fall? We're just guessing on this pH scale. Where do y'all think humans fall?
Where it's supposed to, or where we do?
Where we do. When you test our blood, where do you think, or not us, right? Because we're tainted. A baby. Where do y'all think a natural baby?
7.
A 7, right? It's actually like 7.1 something. It's just slightly over 7, right? So we've deemed that things that have this amount of potential hydrogen in them are called alkaline, or bases, right? So these are alkaline materials, which basically mean they're natural, they sustain themselves in nature, they're a part of nature. They're something that nature produced for you or in nature, right? These are things that are alkaline. anything under 7 has been considered acidic, right? So a lot of study I did, when I found this out, I did a lot of research. Like, okay, acidic, alkaline, what is that? Like, you know, does it make sense? Basically, in a nutshell, things that fall on this side of 7 have electric value to them. Now, we're all electric beings. You've all touched something and felt the shock, I hope. So we've all touched something metal and, oh shoot. That means normally that you're at good health because your body is in an electric state, right? So the good health with this +7 alkaline diet, you're like, okay, well, I'm living. Well, what's acidic then? You know what I'm saying? What are things that are acidic as compared to the alkaline, which I don't have to tell y'all are fruits and vegetables, right? What's acidic? Dang, I don't really got to write nothing down. That's crazy. It's all up here. Butter, margarine, biscuits, eggs, milk, waffles, bacon, cheese, chicken, turkey, fish. What do y'all like that? Seafood? What is it? The raw seafood though. They ain't even cook the bacteria.
Sushi.
The sushi. All of these things. Right. All of these things are acidic. Candy. We can keep going down the list. When we talk about alkali materials, it's what my man's is cooking up right here, right? We talking about kale, we talking about cabbage, we talking about avocados, apples, pineapples, coconuts, dates, figs, what else? Almonds even test alkaline. We could go down the list with celery, bananas, any fruit or vegetable, right? Has an alkaline, it is alkaline for your body. You can take the alkalinity of the fruit and vegetable by cooking it. And we covered this at the last lecture. The human body, what was it, like 108 degrees, or when something starts to boil and cook?
108.
Well, let's go like this.
The enzyme depletion.
Enzyme depletion, 108 degrees, that's the boiling temperature? Right, now if we go to 108 degrees, what happens to our body?
Sick.
Right, so if we made it in the same chemical affinity as plants, what happens to them pass on away? Right? They start to lose their electric state. They start to lose atoms on their shell to be more scientific. And now the food isn't as alkaline, it's actually turning into an acidic state. So y'all say, well, dang, well, we have to eat everything raw. And I'm not saying you have to, I'm saying that's the ideal way to live. Now, I don't eat all raw foods, but when I cook my food, right when it gets to boiling point, I turn it off, I'll throw my seeds in there, and then I'm good. I let it soak or germinate, and then I can eat. Add whatever you want to add, and you can eat. It's not boiled up, right? So what are alternatives to acidic? Oh, and let me let y'all know, rice, brown rice, the Chipotle brown rice is acidic as well. Black beans, as healthy as they are, as much fiber as they contain, as much zinc as they contain, are acidic. Oats. Eat oatmeal. Y'all want to eat cereal in the morning? Eat oatmeal. It's way better for you. You don't got no extra chemicals and additives. And eat oatmeal, man. It's more natural. It's acidic as well, right? What do these things have in common? They're man-made. They're man-made. All right, we went through a period called cultivation, agricultural cultivation, where we started actually being able to change how plants grew. What is it called? Grafting? Hybridization. And you put in, you split the cell and you add new DNA. And when you grow it, you get a new oats, rice, right? You get these different things. Now wait, they are coming from alkaline sources. There's nothing on the planet that God produced for our consumption, that's acidic, right? There's nothing that technically can benefit us, meaning we could eat meat and get protein, or we could go over here and get the same proteins. So I hope I'm not going over no one's head, but by mentioning protein, I feel like we're all going to be able to come to the same understanding. So we all understand that a human being needs protein, right? So when I first went vegan, and even a few days ago at the gym, dudes would see me and be like, wait, you lift weights and you work out and you train us and we're bigger than you, but you look very in shape and you don't eat meat? Oh, okay, we get it, you're a vegetarian. So you eat eggs and cheese, which have the same type of protein as meat, so you can still build muscle, right? I don't eat eggs and cheese, fam. What do you eat then? And even to myself, when people, if y'all ask me right now, what do I eat? I freeze up, like, but I eat all day long. And I'm staying away from things that are acidic. And I'm also staying away from grains, right? So over the past 2 months, I've been on an alkaline seed called quinoa. I'm on my polite right now. Quinoa, curious why, quinoa, whatever y'all want to call it. I've been on quinoa. I've been on amaranth. Who gonna correct me? I've been on amaranth. I've been on the hemp seeds. You feel me? Hemp seeds. And I believe that's the only seed. That's for eating on my diet. That's crazy. Pumpkin seeds. Oh, by the way, in case y'all thought veganism was for games, anybody that knew him 6 months ago, meaning they knew the old him, 40 pounds heavier. I worked out, he don't work out like that. With minimum working out, he lost 40 pounds. Minimum working out on a vegan diet. They say that the human body holds 20 to 30 pounds of meat when you're dead. It's called a cadaver. They open you up and they do the autopsy. The average person, the average meat eater, has 20 to 30 pounds of undigested meat in their gut. Meaning when we look down and you're like, man, why is my stomach? It's things in your stomach. You can do all the crunches in the world. Meat doesn't have fiber. Meat doesn't have fiber. Why are we having the vegan wraps? Because meat doesn't have fiber. Brown rice, oatmeal, black beans, they may be acidic. They may bring down your overall homeostatic levels. But what do they contain that meat doesn't contain? Fiber, right? So I'm running out of room. Fiber, y'all just gonna have to have a good memory. Fiber is not found in cheese, eggs, and meat. So because now what is fiber? Maybe I should slow it down. What is fiber? Fiber is plant cells, right? They call it cellulose. Plant cells that have bound together, left and right, horizontally, vertically, and they come together. Oh yeah. They come together, and they create fiber, right? Now we got two different types of fiber. We got insoluble fiber. Oh, I ain't even erase that. We got insoluble fiber, and we got soluble fiber. Soluble fiber. These two different types of fiber are for our sustenance, meaning you cannot survive without them. So this means, this is telling an intelligent person that you can't survive on meat, right? So fiber, insoluble and soluble, the soluble fibers break down in our bloodstream and help regulate how fast we uptake glucose and how fast we burn sugar, right? The insoluble fibers are like the particles that don't break down in the blood, and they actually rub up against the walls of your intestine and force you to poop. So now, you're looking at your gut and you're like, man, I got an extra big gut. I believe that even if you never did a sit-up in the world, you can have a flat stomach just by getting enough fiber in your diet and a lack of things that don't contain fiber, right? A lack of things that don't contain fiber. Now, I don't only eat meat because it doesn't contain fiber. What else is wrong with meat, in my opinion, as compared to being on an alkaline, veggie type diet, where my man's is whipping up right now? What else could be wrong with meat? Well, I have to pose the question, what is meat? Meat is blood, right? I'm not a vampire. My ancestors weren't vampires. We became vampires when we went through slavery, but prior to being vampires and wanting to have blood, which is meat, do I have to break that down?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, every cell is created in our bones, right? We get amino acids. They tell our pituitary gland to secrete a hormone called growth hormone. And that's what makes our bones and muscles grow. So without amino acids, you can get all the calcium in the world. You're not going to grow, right? You can get all the magnesium in the world. You're not going to grow. You need amino acids to help us grow. So amino acids in the bone produce blood. Blood is produced in bone marrow. The blood is secreted through the bone into your vascular or your cardiovascular system, right? So the blood is going through your body from the bones. The blood, therefore makes up tissues, right? So this blood, the DNA in the blood forms tissues. From the tissues, we form organs, right? From the organs, that's the human body. Here we're going to be holding it down. It's going to be at Irie Roots and Culture. Can you show them the shirt? One time, this is the Irie Roots and Culture spot. This is where we had the first 2 vegan wraps. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have a lot more time to go into the details of the things I'm discussing.
And food.
Oh, and we're not going to have raw food on the 13th. On Friday the 13th, we're going to have, I guarantee y'all, if y'all eat this vegan food that we cook, y'all never going to eat meat again. Listen. Dead serious though, the food is amazing. I've been vegan for 2 years. The cooked foods are crazy. When you cook food, none of you guys eat meat without vegetables on it. All of you guys are putting chili powder or when you barbecue sauce, tomatoes. I do not know one person on this planet that doesn't eat meat without vegetables on it. You guys are all vegans, unless you didn't know it or not, you just also eat meat. We're trying to get you guys to stop eating meat because everybody who eats meat with vegetables on it. I don't know nobody that goes to the barbecue, fry their meat, and then just eat the meat. I mean, I know it happens, but normally when you want some good barbecue, you put what on it?
Plants.
You put plants on it. And plants are the only thing that have flavor. If you was to just cook meat and eat it, y'all would understand what I'm talking about, right? So, I don't have much time.
Q&A?
We can have a quick Q&A. Anybody got questions? I'll stand outside for a little bit. We can stand outside and keep this going if y'all got any questions. Just so y'all know, my last lecture I spoke for like an hour and a half. I spoke for like 40 minutes right now, so it's a lot I did not get to cover. So if y'all want the full lecture, you can come out and get that. But if there are any questions and answers, y'all can present them, and if we don't have time, we can take it outside.
Peace, family. It's 9. We're back with Vegan Raps. We're here with ArHotep, and we're gonna be asking you a few questions. So, can y'all jump straight back into the egg white scenario and what was that about? Let the people know.
What about egg whites? Like, is that good, bad?
Okay.
Basically, if you eat like eggs or any of the byproducts of eggs, you're turning your body into a cemetery. Right? So you're a walking cemetery with this because you're eating something that is no longer alive. So when we eat the carcass or we eat the meat of a dead animal, to me, you're turning your body into nothing but a cemetery. And from there, you are subject to anything that comes along with death. For you, plants can do for you without the disbenefits, right? We want to stay away from anything that could potentially harm us. Right? And the egg is acidic. So if you was somebody that was on your deathbed and they was trying to balance your pH out and make sure that you was homeostatic, and they gave you an egg, they test your blood, your egg drops, your blood, the value of your blood is decreasing. But for the protein, it's a plus. But we say we went over protein. We can go directly to the amino acids and bypass the actual formed complete protein. You get me? We can just get the amino acids. So that's the goal, is to get back to the basis of where things come from instead of eating what the byproduct of where they came from.
So, real quick, can you touch on anything that you didn't get a chance to touch on during the lecture?
The macro molecules or the macronutrients. All right, I didn't get to go over all of them. I went over proteins, and I bodied the meat eaters on how that's not protein. It's amino acids that you need, not the actual protein. So they caught the body on that one. But with the fats and the carbohydrates, I did not get to get into the saturated fats versus the unsaturated fats, which is basically fat that goes in the liver and turns into cholesterol, and then the unsaturated fats, the omega-3s and 6s, which actually help eradicate or get rid of or move around that cholesterol so it's not stuck to the arteries, right? And then I also didn't get to cover on carbohydrates and the difference between starch-based carbohydrates and just natural carbohydrates that do not contain starch. Because there's doctors out there that actually have theories that we should be on starches, but I think they're confusing a starch-based diet with a vegan diet. You know what I'm saying? I think they're not understanding that those starch-based foods are still plant foods. We just want to eat the plant foods that nature provided for us, not necessarily the plant foods that had to go through acculturation and, you know, assimilation into culture, basically meaning two plants coming together and making it in this environment, happening to be able to sustain themselves. We want to eat the plants that when we walk down the street, it's sustaining itself every day, just like us.
Okay, what would you say to the student that is not actually cooking home nutrition meals, that's, you know what I'm saying, running around the city and buying things that are convenient? How would he transition into a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle?
Staying strapped, like I should be with my book bag right now. Bam, oh, you don't know where my heart went, bro. You stay strapped. Like, look, if I want to have knowledge and be successful at having knowledge, I'm gonna have scientific books in my bag. I'm gonna have whole books and theories on melanin and melanocytes, and I'm gonna have books on nutrition and African history. If I want to be somebody that can talk to my people about African history, I'm gonna go to a black author. Shout out Dr. Ben Joe Kennan. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to a book that the late great Ben Joe Kennan actually signed himself in 1990. We're gonna keep these things strapped on us when you want to have knowledge, right? So if you want to have good health, keep it strapped on you. Go get you some bananas, organic apples, oranges, dates, figs, seeds. It's not the ideal way to eat. It's not the natural way that you, or it's not natural to you because you didn't grow up eating that way. But when you're hungry and you put these things in your body, you will see the effect. You know what I'm saying? If I take my shirt off right now, not one person gonna question if we can survive and stay healthy as a vegan. It's not gonna happen. So the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the application where you actually go out and try these things. So the person that's out here buying stuff, even the vegetarians and the vegans, that's at Veggie Grill with the hydrogenated French fries. Y'all eating hydrogenated French fry. They cook that oil up, and now it's not breaking down in your bloodstream. That promotes arteriosclerosis just as much as eating fried meat. All right, it's almost worse because there's more starches in the potato that are also being cooked, right? So the person that's struggling with just diet in general, I say stay strapped. Put your money into things that you're gonna force yourself to eat. I bought all the quinoa from Sprouts. All the quinoa at Sprouts gone. Who got it? It's at my house. You want quinoa? I got it by the pound. Right, me and my mans got right off the quinoa earlier. I ain't felt the hunger pain since, and I got the fastest metabolism. Right? So you want to buy things and force yourself to be in this lifestyle. And how does that happen? That happens with coaching. That happens with the group of people that you see right here. That happens with the people that come out to the lectures and support and apply the knowledge. Forget about who's at the lecture, who's applying the knowledge. You only vegan 4 or 5 days a week, cool. That's better than not caring about your health at all. And when I say vegan, I don't want y'all to automatically think health. All right, so maybe I should say plant-based. Maybe I should say the African bio-mineral balance out of Kemet, right? Maybe that's what I should say, because you could be a vegan and eat potato chips all day. It's vegans in jail. All right, they're eating soy and they're eating potato chips in the Los Angeles County Jail right now. Dudes is getting their teeth knocked out over things that it's not even what they think it is. We want to fight over a bologna sandwich. This is soy. Y'all not even fighting over the right stuff. Y'all fighting to be vegetarians. Over vegetarian, there's a whole bunch of vegetarians locked down in prison right now. And they get little sausages and stuff in the mail and meat here and there, but they on a primarily vegetarian diet, and it's full of estrogen.
So that's funny that you mentioned that. A lot of people say when people get out, they have some sort of glow to them. You know what I'm saying? Or they look better than the average, you know what I'm saying, individual walking the streets. Would you would you account that? Would you attribute that to vegetarian?
I attribute that to the lack of smoke and amphetamines and marijuana and carcinogens that they are around. I will attribute that to the lack of access to fried foods and meats that they don't have access to, like when you just want to run to Burger King. I would attribute that to them being forced to eat oranges and apples every day. Sadly, I've been incarcerated, and everybody that got their fruit ate it. Why? Because when you're on a minimal diet, you will eat another human being. There have been cases, what is it called? Cannibalism in America. The Boston Tea Party? What is that? The Boston Massacre? Somewhere white people got stuck somewhere they shouldn't have been in the first place, and then they had to start eating each other.
Yeah.
All right, so that proves that the human mind is going to eat whatever's around it.
A few cases of that.
Right, and we still see cannibalism today. We're just not as in touch with it. We don't have farms, and we're not attached to the animals to the point where a dude would be like, kill my cow. This cow does so much for this land. This cow gives us milk whenever we run out of the chia seeds and the other things that contain vital nutrients. This cow is important, right? We don't realize that. We just go to the store and get the byproduct of it. So I think the dudes in jail, they don't have access to as many chemicals as we do, but they still not on the healthiest diet because a soy-based diet is not natural. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Dr. Sebi and all the research he's done about acids and bases and the applicable knowledge that we can apply.
So before we wrap it up, is there anybody else with any questions for the brother
All
while we out here?
Black people,
These beautiful black people
attached to the information and trying to apply this information. And it's so many that's not here. I'm not gonna say your name. I'm not gonna say your name because I'm not like that. But goddamn, look, stay out the inbox and come to the lecture.
I come in peace, God. We all a piece of God. So the organic orgasms come in peace, God. My root chakra got the drop. I never see the fall. Never correct my English. Them curses I spelled is off. The sound waves hit the ocean flow. Ocean deep.